Never in doubt. Absolutely never in doubt. Norwich City win 3-2 away to Cardiff City. The long trip to South Wales was worth it for those travelling Norwich City fans. And where do we start? I mean, football. Absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. And, you know, the future for the Norwich City now over the next couple of weeks looks even more confusing. We have been known to sack managers after wins. Brentford 2.0, and it could well be the case here. But let's just start by saying we needed that. We desperately needed a win. Let's try and run through the game before we break down what happens next. Norwich take the lead. Christian Fastnacht. It was a nice flick on from a corner. Fastnacht back post tap in. I don't think Norwich were particularly good up until that point. Maybe deserved to take the lead, but it was a fairly scrappy Championship encounter. I thought Norwich looked quite slow and lethargic going forwards, as we have done for the past couple of months, really. And then the inevitable Canaries collapse began on the 39th minute. Bowler scoring on 39 minutes, Robertson then scoring on 43 minutes. And I think it's really difficult to review this game because I'm obviously buzzing that we've won, but there were so many errors and predictable errors. I saw the starting lineup, a defensive line of Long in goal, obviously Angus still injured. Kellen Fisher at right back, 19 years old, was playing non-league football last season. A defensive pairing of Danny Bart coming in for the suspended Shane Duffy and Jayden Warner. Again, Warner, 21 years old, and a left-back of Pwemezwa Poheta. Now, worth noting, Pwemezwa Poheta was being trialled as a striker in pre-season. We opted for Poheta at left-back today, with two fit, recognised left-backs on the bench in the shape of Dimian Ulis and Sam McCallum. Make of that what you will. What we do all know is that it was a cataclysmic first-half performance from that Norwich City defence. One of the worst performances in a Norwich City shirt this season from Pwemezwa Poheta. That experiment must be stopped immediately. He is not a left back. In my opinion, not a very capable winger, but certainly not a left back. So if we have learned anything from today, it's the fact that we cannot keep playing Pwemezwa Poheta at left back. It may have worked in a 20-minute spell against 10-man Blackburn. It certainly won't work against capable Championship teams. So go into the break 2-1 down and you're thinking, oof, like really are starting to stare the relegation zone directly in the face at this point. You know, going into an international break off another defeat. We've conceded the most goals in the division by quite some distance. 32 goals conceded. To put that into context, 24th place Sheffield Wednesday, who have 6 points, have only conceded 27 goals. I mean, this is a very, very leaky Norwich City side. The defence gets changed by Wagner, and he's obviously, admitted to himself that he did get that defence wrong. Fisher comes off, Poheta comes off, on come the experienced, recognised fullbacks in the shape of Yanulis and Stacey, who looked far better second half. But even then, the game's kind of running slightly, just kind of petering out. Norwich get a goal, 82 minutes on the clock. Again, a corner, not defended by Cardiff, and thankfully, whoever's coaching set pieces now will might get a little bonus after today's game. Two goals from set pieces, from corners, and then a third goal for Norwich. Adam Ida popping up, who actually was really good when he came onto the pitch. 84 minutes. Ida scores. A nicely worked move, actually. Yanulis with a lovely takedown, plays it into the box. Johnny Rowe, poor goalkeeping. Ida taps into an empty net. Hints of offside. Think he just, held his line nicely. So Norwich end up running out 3-2 winners, and mentally now sit 6 points off the playoffs. 6 points off the playoffs on 20 points. Sunderland the 6th on 26. I mean, it's funny, isn't it, how football works, this would have been a very different match review had we lost 2-1, which I thought we were on track to do. But still, so much change. Look, we can't get away from the fact that was still a pretty poor performance from the Canaries. Cardiff just much worse defensively, really poor. They'll be gutted they've got on to lose that game. It was nice that Wagner owned up to his errors and changed that defensive line in the end and rectified his mistakes. But we still need to realise here that this Norwich City team won't progress to the levels we want and demand from this side under David Wagner. It is clear that he is out of his depth. Form certainly isn't improving, and we are in a far worse place than we were when he came into the job. There are so many narratives and stats surrounding this now. At both Schalke and also Young Boys, David Wagner managed 40 games in charge, and then he was sacked. David Wagner has managed 40 games in charge of Norwich City. Ben Napper has a lot of decisions to make in the first couple of weeks at the helm of Norwich City. He starts as sporting director on Monday. This was Stuart Webber's final game in charge as sporting director. He was at Cardiff. He was given a guard of honour off the pitch. Make of that what you will. But Napper has big calls to make, and one would hope that the first of those calls will be sacking David Wagner on Monday. A win is a good thing, and we shouldn't ever not celebrate winning football matches because it's fun and it's the whole reason we support our football club. But we have to remain realistic and realise the bigger picture here. Norwich are 16th in the table with one of the bigger wage budgets in this division, and those standards simply can't be rewarded. I know that Wagner said that he had the full support of the board and from Delia Smith, and they understood that there'd been injuries that have meant that the Canaries have been on a downfall, but it's evident that the tactics and the style of football isn't working. But we must realise Norwich have got to the international break, middle of November, and we are way, way below where we should be. There was a mini resurgence at the start of this season after the terrible, terrible form at the back end of the last campaign. There have been injuries, I know, but we still remain in a position of real difficulty. We know the issues off pitch. The on-pitch happenings haven't been good. Norwich have conceded the most amount of goals in this division. They are incredibly leaky. Even today, didn't look anywhere near being, improving in that area. Cardiff arguably should have had a penalty. We rode our luck at times. And look, we've also had things go against us this season, so it is nice to get some luck. And boy, did we need to win today. But there's big decisions to make at this football club. We cannot be blindsided here. And much like we did with Daniel Farke when he beat Brentford in the Premier League, they made a decision. I think that decision would have already been made prior to today. Napper will have a short list of managers that he will want to bring in, and I'm hoping that that is the case. With all of that being said, if Wagner is sacked, he will leave with a degree of respect. He has remained respectful throughout his tenure, even when it's got really difficult. He is clearly a very nice bloke, but we can't operate in this way anymore. We need to be more ruthless. We need to be more unforgiving if we want to progress in this division. It's an incredibly competitive division in that middle bracket. I mean, the fact that we're somehow still in touching distance of the playoffs, we should feel incredibly grateful for, and that should now be an expectation. The board said going into this season, Zoe Webber said that playoffs or promotion was the minimum expectation, and Ben Napper should come in with some form of hope, looking at the table and going, actually, it's a couple of games and we could be staring upwards rather than downwards. That is a good opportunity for Norwich to be in here. And That won't happen with David Wagner, and it's unlikely it will happen with a different manager, but I do believe that there is more chance of that happening under a different head coach. There is so much to sort here. Recruitment, finances, head coaches, structuring properly, ownership. But at least today, we did the right thing. We picked up 3 points by hook or by crook. It was far from straightforward, and it was far from perfect. But they got it done. So well done. Really chuffed for Ranamida, actually, who I thought was good when he came on and seems to be more effective off the bench and has actually scored some really important goals for Norwich this season. I thought Christian Fasnacht was a good introduction back into the side. He looks far more lively and productive than other wingers when they've been playing. And hopefully... This is a turning point. Make of that what you will. I'd love to hear your conclusions down in the comment section below. But Norwich City have won in South Wales. Cardiff 2, Norwich City 3. Wagner, in or out? Let me know. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.